Good afternoon. Let me just make sure that I am live. Give me one moment, please. And it looks like I am. And I just realized I may not have turned the volume up on my phone. There we go. Okay. I think we're good. Good afternoon. Carol Buckalew with Inky Bee Stampers. I am an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. And I have a card here today. Hello, Mary. Thanks so much for joining. I have a card here today using the Cheerful Daisies suite of products. And this is probably the third card I've made using these products. The paper is so beautiful. The images are so beautiful. Rosie, thanks so much for joining. I just can't seem to stop creating with it. So hope you don't mind. So this card was made for the Happy Inkin' Thursday blog hop, which is tomorrow. And we have a sketch challenge this week. And so my card design is based on that sketch challenge. Hi, Faith. Thanks so much for joining. Hi, Amy. Thanks for joining. Oh, thank you, Faith. Yeah, the Cheerful Daisies is just a wonderful, wonderful set. So let me show you what I've used here for the card today. Pretty basic, the stamp set, the Cheerful Daisy stamp set, and the coordinating dies. And then I've also used the Fern 3D embossing folder. So the Cheerful Daisies bundle you'll be able to get from the new 2023-2024 annual catalog, which launches on May 2nd. So we are just a few days away from the new catalog launch, which is really exciting. And the Fern 3D embossing folder is carrying over in the new catalog. And this is just so pretty for some nice texture on cards. I'm also using and I always forget the name, but I think it's Fresh as a Daisy. Yes, the Fresh as a Daisy 12x12 Designer Series paper. And I have this pulled out because there is a piece of paper in this pack, and it goes together like this. And you'll see I have a missing corner here, and that's because I used one of the panels here from this paper for my card. So this actually was a larger panel that I cut from this one sheet of paper right from this corner right here. And then I used another print as well. Let me get this out of my way. I know. I love the paper too, Mary. It's just so, so beautiful. I've got a card base in Pretty Peacock. Just love, love, love this blue-green color. And I used one of our new colors, Wild Wheat, for my mats. I'm not 100% sure I'm sold on Wild Wheat, but it's growing on me. We'll just say that. But it actually coordinates really well with this paper. So let's go ahead, I think, and get started with a little bit of stamping. I did some stamping and pre-cutting as well. So I will share that. Let me just get my pieces in order here. And we can set that. We need that as well. And I need the inside panel. Try and get organized here. There we go. Okay. All right. I think we're good. So I am using the large and the half daisy, and I'm using the solid image daisies for my card today. Yeah, the DSP forces us to use the Wild Wheat. But you know, it actually really, I don't know if you can see it here, but in the pattern that I'm using of the paper, there is a little bit of Wild Wheat, and it actually looks really nice with the copper clay. Did I get that right? Yeah, copper clay, and the yellows. It really does look quite pretty. So anyway, I'm using the solid image daisies here for today, and I am going to stamp my daisies. For the outside of the card, I'm stamping them in Lemon Lolly ink, which is a new color, onto Lemon Lolly cardstock. And it might be a little bit difficult to see these images. I'll hold them up for you, but hopefully you'll be able to see it well enough. And I'm just going to stamp that large image. And while I'm stamping, I am going to also stamp onto my, I just noticed I've got lint or something on my ink pad. And I don't want to get it on my stamp. And then I'm going to just stamp this daisy here partially on my inside panel as well. There we go. You can see it much better on the white. And then the half daisy, I am also going to stamp onto my Lemon Lolly cardstock and the envelope front. But these daisy images are just the bomb. They really are. Don't be hating on wild wheat. Yeah, I'm trying to like it. I really am. I think that's all we need the Lemon Lolly ink for. I will go ahead and close that up. And I'm going to grab some crushed curry. And this will be for my daisy centers. So I'm going to grab this small daisy center. And that small center, you kind of have to orient it to kind of figure it out. And I'm just going to pull this towards me. My apologies. Just need to see where I'm stamping. But you kind of need to pull that towards you just to see where you're stamping it. And let me get it stamped over here on my envelope as well. There we go. Whoops. And then the large daisy center, I am going to stamp onto Lemon Lolly cardstock in crushed curry ink. And then I'll go ahead and just stamp directly on my daisy here on the inside of my card. There we go. But aren't they such pretty images? I just really love these. While I have my crushed curry ink out, I have a tiny sentiment label here. It's, hey Tara Beth, thanks so much for joining. Gosh, you don't usually get to see my videos. Thank you so much. I usually can't stay awake for yours, and that's the God's honest truth. It's pathetic, I know. But my little sentiment label is in Lemon Lolly, and it's about 3 inches long by 1/2 inch tall. And my sentiment, you made my day. And I just thought this was a great sentiment. Could be used, you know, for a thank you card. You could stamp a thank you sentiment on the inside of the card. I left my card, which I do a lot of my cards, I left the inside blank just so that I can, you know, pretty much use the card for whatever I may need it for. And I'm going to go ahead and just center that and stamp it off in crushed curry ink. Work gets in the way. I know that feeling. I remember those days. And I'm so glad that this is my work now and I don't have to deal with it anymore. It's a wonderful thing. But anyway, okay, so we got the sentiment label done. I've got my envelope and my inside panel done. Let me leave the crushed curry ink out. So let me tell you what I'm going to do here. You know me, I like to always fiddle with images, and yeah, it is an awesome set, Faith, I agree. So I like to bump my images up, you know, when I can. And these daisies were just kind of calling for a little extra. Not that they're not pretty all on their own, they are. But what I'm going to do is I have a copper clay, the light shade of a Stampin' blend, and I'm just going to enhance our little large daisy center here, and I'm just dotting some copper clay here around kind of the bottom of the large daisy center. And I'm going to do the same thing, but just kind of just a little bit here around the smaller daisy center, the half daisy. And then I'm going to take the light shade of my Lemon Lolly. Hey, Karen, thanks so much for joining. Appreciate it. Yeah, it's like Old Home Week here today. Wow, this is great, guys. And I'm just going to take my the light shade of Lemon Lolly, and I'm going to just blur out the copper clay marker that I just put down, just to soften it. But the whole reason that I, used the copper clay was just to give those pieces a little bit more shadow. And then I am going to come in with a blender pen. And I'll tell you what, my blender pens get a workout. I love using these. But what I'm going to do is, I don't know if you can see it on this image or not, if I hold it up here. But there are some light areas. Well, here, you know what? You can see it better on the white. But you can see that there are some light areas that the stamp, doesn't stamp. I want to maintain those light areas. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to dip my blender pen in the crushed curry ink. And I'm going to just work my way around from the center out on each petal. And I want to focus on these shorter petals that are dropping kind of in front of you, right? So these would be more in shadow. So that's where I'm going to kind of concentrate the crushed curry ink just to indicate some shadow. And there's nothing like fancy about this technique. I'm just making quick strokes down just to kind of highlight those daisy petals. And I'm avoiding the white areas on those petals. And I'm going to concentrate the crushed curry ink more on these lower petals, and keep it a little bit softer here on the upper petals. And if you need to, I'm kind of dipping my pen in my pad here, but if you get too much ink on your blender pen, just, wipe it off onto a scrap piece of paper. But this gives some really nice definition to the petals. And it's something that I like to do a lot, when I'm creating. But you can see now the difference on those petals. It just kind of really brings them out more. I'm going to do the half daisy as well. And I am going to concentrate the pigment of the ink more towards, the center to kind of indicate some shadow. And doing this really, really makes these pop. It really does. And look at this last little guy here. And there we go. And then when you're done with your blender pen, oh, you know what I may do? Let me flick a little bit of color here on this daisy. It's not the focal daisy. It doesn't need to be, quite as fussy or dark. But we'll get a little bit of color on that one as well. So we started off being a really beautiful morning here, and the sun is out right now, but it keeps clouding up and it rains, and then it clears off again. So I'm not quite sure what it is doing out there. It's been kind of a crazy day. I think we are in for an entire weekend of rain here, unfortunately. I know there's some weather systems moving through, and so yuck on the rain, but you know, it is what it is, right? There we go, and I think that that'll be good. So as I started saying, when you're done with your blender pens, just make sure to scribble out all of that color, just so that when you grab it again, you're not surprised, and getting unwanted color on your projects. Oh, you're getting rain there too, Mary. Yeah, the weather, you know, well, it's spring. That's what happens when it's spring, I think. All right, so our envelope's done and our inside panel is done. We can go ahead and start working on assembling our card. And I do have a few pieces pre-cut here, like I mentioned. So I did go ahead and die cut my daisies. But I did want to show you just how I use the blender pen to kind of enhance those images. And I kind of feel like I'm missing something here. What am I missing? Oh, I think I just left this paper out. Okay, got it. All right, that, and we need these panels, and then I think that's it. Okay. All right, now I'm organized, I think. So I am going to go ahead and adhere a mat in wild wheat to my card front. Oh, you're in a drought, Karen. Where are you, Karen? I'm not sure I know where you are. Droughts are never good. Never good. Usually we're in a drought situation by about August. Hey, Mom, thanks for joining. And I'm just making sure I have an equal reveal all the way around between that mat and my card front. Mid-Missouri. Oh, okay. Wow. I thought you guys usually got a lot of rain where you are. And then I have a, let me see here. This is 5 inches by 1.5 inches strip of lemon lolly. And I have embossed this. Be nice if I turned it right side up. I have embossed this with the Fern 3D embossing folder. And I am going to adhere this strip right down the center of my card, centering it top to bottom and left to right. So let me go ahead and get that glued up. I thought, you know, you're not going to see a lot of this embossed strip, but I thought that it would just give it, give the card some nice texture. I have lined my card up on my grid paper here. And so I'm using that to just, you know, help me get that strip as straight as possible. And that looks pretty good. Very good. And then I am going to adhere my next panel of DSP right over top of that strip. I was concerned when I was creating this card that the embossed strip of DSP might be a little too bulky in the center, but it actually worked out okay. It didn't seem to be a concern, so that was good. Go ahead and get this panel glued up. This one will go onto the card front as straight as I can get it over that embossed panel. And let me just kind of hold that up and eyeball it. As long as it's fairly straight, I think we're good here. Actually, let me try to scooch it up a little bit on the right. I might be too late. I might be a little off, but not enough to be bothersome. And then my second panel of DSP, the Daisy print, is going to go on the front of this at an angle. So what is the, so you and Tara Beth are both in mid-Missouri. What are your temps like now? Is it getting warm? I would imagine it might be. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere this. at an angle to the other panel and get that adhered down. There we go. All right. So, you know, I use this pattern of DSP with the daisy background and the copper clay background. And the flip side of this is a really beautiful blue-green color. And this would be a shade of Pretty Peacock. And so what I did was I used the DSP to cut out 3 sprigs of my greenery from the DSP. And it made for some really pretty leaves. And, you know, I could adhere these right after I put the daisies on, but I pretty much know where I want these. And so with the exception of this third one, I think I'm going to go ahead and just glue these down now. Because I pretty much know where they're gonna sit. And when I glue greenery down, I like to leave the tops kind of free-wheeling. I don't put glue all the way up to the top. And then this just kind of lets you, oh wow, it's not that warm there, 61. We're at 59 degrees here. Wow. So maybe cool because of, you know, yeah. I don't know. I did watch a video, Ryan Hall's video, and he said that cold air was moving in. That's crazy, isn't it? I would think by this time of year, you guys might be a little bit warmer. Our temperatures have been up and down. It's been crazy. And I'll go ahead and get the second greenery sprig adhered. And I think we would be good right about there. Whoops. Helpful if it sticks to my project and not me. Alrighty. And then I can go ahead. I am going to put a Stampin' Dimensional on the back of my large daisy center. See if the Stampin' Dimensionals cooperate. They don't always. And I know that I want my darker petals here at the bottom. So my daisy center needs to sit like that. And then I'm going to flip both of these over and put some Stampin' Dimensionals on the backs of these and get them popped up on the card front. So really simple, easy card. And because of the pretty paper, the pretty DSP, yeah, I think it all works. Let me move this. I got it too far over. All right, let me see here. We'll put this large one down first. And I think right about there. And we'll get our little flower on. And this one I'm going to have just kind of hanging over the larger flower. There we go. And then we can go ahead and get our second sprig put on. And I think I'd like that to sit right about there. So let me get that glued up. Oops. Be helpful if I turned it around the right way. So I don't know if you guys caught it on my blog. I posted a couple of pictures of Maisie and Mackenzie. They went and got beautiful this weekend at the groomers. They look so stinking cute. But I gotta tell you, Maisie was completely wiped out. Like, going to the groomers must be really hard work because she was wiped out big time. All right, and just go ahead and get that slipped in there and try not to rip it. Oh, look, completely moved on me. Come on and stick. There we go. All right, good. Just a couple more things here on the card front, and we can do the inside panel. So I have a piece of copper clay. Yeah, getting beautiful is exhausting, apparently. She just completely, she was wiped out for the entire day. Like, all she could do was sleep. She had no interest really in doing anything else. I want to go ahead and slip this ribbon underneath my card. I'm going to go ahead and trim those ends up once I get this adhered. But I think, you know, when I did it the first time, I used liquid glue, and I think this time I'm going to go with some glue dots and see if maybe they work just a little bit better. I really just want something to hold that fold in half for me. Yeah, I think that's going to work a little bit better. And then I'll go ahead. Yeah, they're little pointy ears. You know, it's funny, we've had Westies before that, you know, we weren't 100% sure their ears were going to stand up. One of our Westies in particular, her, you know, one day one ear would be up, and the next day the opposite ear would be up, and the other one would be down. So I'm really glad that their little ears stick up, for sure. I'm going to go ahead and just gently lift my daisy up here and slip that ribbon under there. So I've got a couple of mini glue dots holding that in place. I'm going to go ahead and take my ribbon scissors and just go ahead and trim the ends up here. I don't want it quite as long as I have it. And I think maybe right about there. And then I'll go ahead and get this one trimmed to about there. There we go. And then on my sentiment label, I want to go ahead and just cut an angle here on each end and try and get it spaced out as best I can. I wasn't real good getting that one done. There we go. Okay, that looks good. And I'll go ahead and get some dimensionals on the back of the sentiment label. And we are almost done here. So an easy card, the suite, the Cheerful Daisy suite, definitely. I don't think you could create an ugly card with these products. They're just so pretty. I haven't even explored like all the colors in the papers yet. You know, there's a real pretty blue background paper that I want to make a card from, and just gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. And I'm going to go ahead and try to get my sentiment label as straight as possible here. I'll tell you, these reverse tweezers definitely come in handy for sure. All right, we can go ahead and get our whoops, that's an envelope. We can get our inside panel glued down and get this put on the inside of the card. So just a few more days left for the last chance product sale. If there is anything that you've been wanting, be sure to grab it. You know, later than May 1st, because May 2nd, the new catalog launches, and those retiring products, you know, will be gone. They'll be gone. So if there's anything you've been wanting, you know, make sure you get out there and check it out. You can find a link on my website, inkybstampers.com. I am also offering a paper share, a single or a double paper share of all of the new designer series papers. So if you're interested in that, visit my blog. You can find a link that will take you out there and provide all of the details. But basically, I just need an email to inkybstampers@gmail.com if you're interested in participating in my paper share. All right, that is the inside of our card. I'm going to go ahead and add a few adhesive back solid gems to the card front, and I chose to go with the copper clay color and kind of put those around on the wild wheat background. I thought they looked real pretty. They show up nicely. And let's get one more little one here, and we'll put him right over there. I think that's good. And here I'm capping my glue, but I need it still. We'll get our envelope all prettied up here with a piece of coordinating paper. And I'm just holding it up to make sure I have the right piece sitting in front of me. And just apply a little bit of liquid glue here for our envelope. And that, whoops. I hate when that happens. I love it and I hate it when the glue lets the paper slip. It's good when you need that little give, but sometimes it slips on you and you don't want it to, like it just did. And we'll give this a real quick trim and we will be done. So very quick and easy card, you know, and the technique with the blender pen, you know, give that a try. Certainly, like I said, and I've said this before, the Stampin' Up! Images are beautiful stamped all by themselves. You know, you certainly don't have to do that, you know, bump the images up, but it's something that, as a painter, I like to do. I'm always looking for kind of that touch of realism in my cards. All right, so that pretty much wraps up my card for today. I hope you enjoyed it. I was reading Mary's comment. I didn't know what Do It Right This Second was. Was that somebody ordering or? Anyway, okay. But that is my card for today. I hope you enjoyed it. I know I enjoyed making it, and thank you very much. Appreciate it. I will see you all next Wednesday for another card demo, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. Take care. Bye-bye.